And welcome to Netflix and Kill. Oh yes, October edition. Man, I am so excited to talk about this one, Travis.
Yeah,
this one's right up our alley for Netflix Kill. There's blood, there's gore, there's twists and turns. There's just
a random shirtless guy.
And there's a random shirtless guy. That's always a good qualifier for Netflix and Kill. I mean, it's one we rarely tick off the box, but this one's got it in spades. And who is talking about shirtless men? Why, it's me, Nick the Merc with a mic, and my fellow unapologist,
Travis,
and our guest unapologist,
Patience.
And Patience, it's been a while since we had Patience on, but we couldn't have, we couldn't go through a whole October without having our horror fan Patience come in and talk about a movie with us. It didn't feel right. I declared it. No, it's the law of the land.
Be a bit weird.
We must have it. And I declare, Patience, you must review a film with us. What do you desire? And she fired back with actually a movie I wanted to see, so that actually worked out pretty good. So we are going to talk about The Babysitter.
What up, Steve?
B, call us if there's any trouble, okay? Cole, don't cause any trouble.
I bet B has boys over at your place all the time. That's what babysitters do.
Seriously, have you ever been awake after she's fallen asleep?
I love her.
STD. I got 2 people's blood on me. You do the math.
911. My babysitter is trying to kill me.
Are the attackers in the house?
They're downstairs having a blast.
Alrighty, babes, let's head upstairs and get the blood of the innocent.
This would go viral. I mean, nobody's done human sacrifice.
People have always done human sacrifice.
Yeah, but like, not in America with hot people.
Hey.
We're just having fun. Things get messy when you make a deal with the devil.
Why is he shirtless?
That's your first question?
There's only one way to end this, Cole.
Fuck you!
You guys suck.
You crazy bitch.
Now, Patience, would you like to give a little rundown of what the what the Babysitter is about?
Well, The Patience is about... No, I'm just kidding.
I did mess that one up.
The Babysitter is I want to call it a horror comedy, slightly meta, where there's these young kid named Cole who's being bullied, and he has this a super amazing hot babysitter, B, who rescues him from the bullies, and they're obviously have like a very special relationship. Well, unfortunately, that relationship goes awry when Cole spies on her after being put to bed and finds out that she's the leader of this satanic cult. And hijinks ensue.
Yeah, that sums that up. Hijinks ensue.
Hijinks definitely ensue. Now, this movie is actually pretty fun. I watched the trailer before I watched it, but I made sure that Travis did not.
Mm-hmm. He likes to do that.
But even he didn't really. I mean, he saw it coming that she was about to murder someone. I'm not sure when you got wise to it. Probably
I pretty much knew the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I saw them sitting around the circle, I'm like, oh, they're gonna murder the odd man out. I just didn't see it coming the way it got done.
I did like it because Travis did look at that group of people. We have, okay, let's see, what's the cast here? We have Robbie Amell as the jock, as the shirtless jock. We mentioned Max. We have, I'm going to mispronounce this. Hana May Lee. That sounds about right. Yeah.
No, that was great.
Sonia.
That was a good job.
is the chick wearing the beret. We have Bella Thorne as Allison, as the cheerleader. And we have, man, who's the black guy again? Andrew Bachelor as John? Yeah. And we have poor Samuel is definitely... I mean, once you see him, you're kind of like, one of these things is not like the other.
One of these things is dead.
One of these things.
So let's kill it with 2 knives to the face.
And drink its blood.
Indeed. Like, that was a pretty vicious kill to start this off with. It was pretty messed up. But it actually takes a while to get there. They actually build this relationship with the babysitter for quite a bit before it gets there. Which is a surprisingly important part of this movie because we watched a lot of babysitter, home invasion thriller type films, and we just watched one the other day called Better Watch Out.
So good.
And Travis did not enjoy it. I actually kind of liked it, but one of the things that I wish it would have done was also explain why the kid was in love with the babysitter, which I feel like a lot of films kind of just glaze over. This one, when as much time you spend with the babysitter and the kid, you actually get from the kid's perspective, like, oh, she's not only like a hot older woman, but she's actually like one of the only people that actually treats him like a normal person, and actually kind of like gets him as a person, and just makes him feel noticed. So it's kind of like, oh, it's not just like, it's a sexual thing for him, sure.
I actually don't even think it was at first, even. Like, even throughout most of the beginning of the movie, it doesn't seem sexual until, like, someone keeps pointing out how hot she is. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of notices, she's fucking hot.
He has that moment in the car where he definitely gets an eyeful of breasts, but you are right. There is a whole lot of, like, his affection for her is steeped in...
innocence.
And his innocence was actually important later. So, I really like the fact that a lot of these actors are overacting, especially Robbie Amell.
Oh god, everyone in this movie is a caricature to begin with. Mm-hmm. Like, even the parents are just hilariously odd.
Yeah, Robbie Amell might actually be the best I've ever seen him here, because I normally find him a little stiff. He's... it's not like he's bad or anything. He's just not very... I never usually find his performance very engaging. He was in that other Netflix and Kill we did, ARQ.
I thought he was fine in that, but again, yeah, you're right, he was a little stiff.
Like, it wasn't like he was bad. He was fine. He's fine in, like, Flash, where he's the other half of Firestorm.
In this movie, I found him to be very Patrick Bateman-ish, you know what I mean? Especially with the shirt off and covered in blood half the time. He just had like that whole, like, I don't know, like Huey Lewis and the News dialogue kind of thing going. It was really, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I did like, I really did like his take on, like, I'm not sure if the director was just like, okay, so you are a crazy nutbag, just go for it.
Just chew up scenery.
I did like this is the first time I felt like he was really giving his all into a performance, even though as silly as this one was. Mm-hmm. As far as the kills in this movie, I loved them.
They were pretty well thought out. I'll give them that.
Almost all of them are pretty rad. Like, they are gooey, they're gory, they're pretty much everything I want out of a thriller slasher like this when I plug one of these in. The kid, let's see if I can find his name here, Judah Lewis. He's pretty good. He's really good in this, actually.
Yeah, he sells a lot of the emotion.
Well, he has this kind of affectation, like, where he's obviously super scared, but he is definitely thinking things through, like, when the shit finally hits the fan. Like, I like the fact that he he first sees the what he thinks is the orgy go bad, and he's watching, of course, like everyone playing Spin the Bottle and Truth or Dare, and he's kind of like, oh, so this is what happens when I don't go to sleep, and he finally sees his babysitter and another chick make out, and I'm like, oh man, he's gonna lose his whole mind here. He's not ready for this. His young puberty stricken body, it's gonna just explode.
We were actually ready for him to fall down the stairs.
Yeah, but then I think Travis said like no, nor like yeah. I think I mentioned like no. His boner will act as a kickstand, and it's just like he'll just be a complete tripod. It's just. It'll be his saving grace.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Yeah, no, the kid was great. I feel like he was the only character in this movie that was realistic or not a caricature or a stereotype of like your horror trope characters. So he was kind of a nice break from like, them trying to really push this like meta horror comedy theme, I think.
Yeah, I feel like just him and B, the babysitter, were both kind of like almost in a separate movie from everyone else.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, everyone else is very much a caricature, including one of the things I wasn't super crazy about was what's his name? The guy who plays John, Andrew Bachelor.
Oh my god. I at one point I was just like, really? We're going to do this now? It was so, the writing for that character was so bad and just so stereotypical that I was like, I thought I was watching Scary Movie for a second. It was just dumb.
He was a couple shades away from what's his name in the Scary Movies?
Yeah, like one of the Wayans is. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the Wayans brothers. And I was just like, man, is this offensive? I don't know. Like, I'm
offensive to my ears.
Seriously, I felt it was borderline offensive. I really did.
He gets all these ridiculous lines, and then I'm actually glad they went with the stereotype that the black guy dies first in this one. I'm not gonna lie. He was the most uncomfortable thing in this movie, and I was like, okay, he can.
He dies second.
Thank you for saying that, because I felt exactly the same way. I was like, oh, good, I don't have to put up with them for the rest of the movie. Okay, good. And
he dies brutally,
and
too.
it's not because he's a bad actor or anything. It's just his character was like, after seeing Get Out. Like, I can't do, it was just too much. It was too thick.
Yeah, so, what I really do like is that, Cole, is very smart. As soon as he sees that his babysitter and her friends are murderers, he goes right for the phone, calls the cops,
and it works.
There's no busy signal. There's nothing that
they don't think it's a joke.
Yeah, the cops do come, but of course he has to wait until then. So he pretends to be asleep, and we figured out that the shot that she gave him earlier was actually filled with drugs to like conk him out for like 8 hours, and so we get a sense of like this has been happening actually more often than we've seen, because they draw some of his blood, and because they need the blood of the innocent to complete this ritual, which is the reason that they killed poor Sam, is that they're making a deal with the devil to get whatever they want. Yeah. We only get a couple of their motivations. Like we only figured out that one of them wants to be a journalist.
The cheerleader wants to be a journalist, and for some reason needs to make a pact with the devil to become a journalist.
Yeah, we never figure out why Sonia is there, but Sonia is actually she also is the creepy girl in Pitch Perfect. The girl that can't speak above a whisper, or you can't hear anything she says. That's the same person. So I'm just thinking it's like her like evil twin sister or something in this movie, because she does speak in this rarely, but she seems to be there for
pleasure.
Yeah, along with Robbie Amell's character Max, who like openly admits like, nah, I was basically here just to kill people tonight. So yeah, and I do like that Cole, given that he is supposed to be like this scaredy cat, it's supposed to be established he's very afraid. He doesn't like needles. He doesn't like physical activity very much.
Tries to avoid confrontation.
Mm-hmm. He can't even, when his dad takes him out to drive, to practice driving, he can't even he can basically start the car. That's about it.
Yep.
And I do like that he as soon as they leave his room the first time, he grabs some sheets, ties them together, and it's like, okay, I'm going to climb out this window. And between the needle that they stuck him with and then the prospect of climbing out the window, he passes out.
What a bitch.
I mean, Travis went over to me like, oh, wait, so when did they drug him? And I'm like, nah, they didn't drug him. He just passed the fuck out.
His blood sugar was down.
Yes, it was. That is the next scene.
Yeah, so because B was already suspicious, he wakes up tied up to the chair with everybody with everybody there, which is a great scene because Travis actually once the scene starts up, Travis asks "Hey, why is Robbie Amell shirtless?" Then the next line out of the kid's mouth is, "Why is he shirtless?" Really, that's your question?
I mean, it is the most obvious thing in the room.
It is, I mean, it's odd. It's I don't know. For me, if I was tied up in a chair and one of them was shirtless and it was Robbie Amell with this weird look on his face, I'm like, okay, is there a sexual component to what's about to happen? Because he's freaking me out right now. I'm not comfortable with this.
Again, that was a very Patrick Bateman moment for me. And, everyone's like, well, why wouldn't he be shirtless? He's super hot. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, but he's also a sociopath. Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, why does John's shirt have blood on it? Because no one else would lend me a shirt. That's not even an answer.
And he does kind of play it off as he has no idea why he's here or why he's tied up.
Mm-hmm.
In the film, my favorite moment of that scene is where he has the pocket knife and he's trying to break free, and they're like, there's a mirror behind you. We can see you.
He just keeps going for it. He's like, look at this little fucker.
Look at him go. It's like, God damn it. We should mention that the film is directed by McG.
Of all people.
Right. The same guy who gave us Terminator Salvation.
Such a great, solid piece of cinematography or cinema history right there, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And
no Genesis.
And let's not forget Charlie's Angels.
Oof. Yeah, you're right about that. Damn. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably his best movie that he's directed.
Low bar.
And this, and even this has some elements in it that I'm not crazy about as far as the direction here. There's some points where it's where he first brings out the pocket knife, where he's earlier it had pocket knife and kind of freezes in on him like it's a A-Team 80s special or whatever. And it's kind of neat because it gives this this old school kind of 80s feel, although the film isn't set in the 80s. No character is very much obsessed with the 80s other than McG, I think. So it has it gives it kind of a neat feel, but I don't understand why it's there. And I kind of like that pocket knife comes up later and it does the ... ellipses bitches thing. That's funny. But also there's weird editing moments with the sound.
Not only the sound, but even the camera a lot, where it just all of a sudden stops in random moments of the scene. I'm like, why'd you stop this scene? What? Why?
Well, I do like some of the moments where it's because anytime our babysitter B winks, it actually makes the ding sound or whatever, and it kind of upplays her ridiculousness, and I kind of like that. But then also there's the point where Robbie Amell, where the cops come, where shit really gets crazy, and Robbie Amell murders one of the cops by throwing a spear through his face, and he goes to the other cop and does this finger gun thing, and when he brings his hands up to do the finger guns, it makes this gun click sound. And at first I thought it was the other cop cocking his gun, but I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. His gun would already been have cocked. So it's actually a sound effect for Robbie Amell's hands coming up.
Yep.
And I was like, huh, that was weird. Like and I realized that the scene is over top and ridiculous enough anyway, so it's not like it takes me out of the scene, but I found it odd.
I feel like this was like McG just trying to ride that meta train. You know, meta's super popular right now in horror. We have some really great films coming out here pretty soon that everyone is going to love, like Tragedy Girls, that are just so over the top meta. And I feel like he's just sort of trying to like, you know, right, you know.
Oh, meta
yeah, exactly. And so I like with the, you know, the big titles across the screen and the weird sound effects, I feel like this was just his attempt to try and like break the fourth wall or, you know, just sort of, you know, oh, look, I can make a cool cabin in the woods. Not, so, you know, I really feel like that was the attempt. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really take you out of the movie, but a lot of it could just, I mean, just take it back a bit and maybe we would have a more solid film in the end.
Yeah. And, I do like that cop scene though too, because it does set the tone for like if the first death with the stabbing through the head and fountains of blood didn't set the scene, this scene with the cops is kind of like, oh, so Robbie Amell is just going to get enough time to stab him through, like, what was it, a fire poker?
Yeah, I think it was fireplace poker, yeah.
And then that cop actually gets a shot off to the cheerleader and
shoots her right in the tit.
Right in the tit. And
which she doesn't shut up about.
No. It also somehow catapults her across the room.
Yeah, all guns in this universe are way more powerful than they are in real life, it seems like, or have way more, like, of a kick to them. Like, because she gets hit like she just got shot with a shotgun. She flies to the other end of the room. And the other cop, for whatever reason, doesn't shoot for, like, ever.
No.
That's so unrealistic. Like, I mean, your partner just got speared in the eyeball and you're not going to shoot anybody?
I feel like that would be the first thing I'd do.
And so this is one of those points where I'm like, okay, this whole movie is very unrealistic. So, there was this one point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't buy that this cop would not take a shot at least Robbie Amell's character.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
If Nick gets speared in the eyeball with a fireplace poker, Travis is going to shoot some people.
No, I'd run away.
Or at least you take action.
Yeah, I would at least do something, though. I'd be like, nope, I'm out.
Not just sit there and yell, bleh, bleh.
No.
Yeah. So the other cop dies, and we get like a big spray of blood on John again, which is. I mean, this whole movie is very gory. There's buckets of blood being thrown around. Now I mean, I love the kills here. I even love like the first kill because Cole is trying to be, you know, he was very, you know, proactive in calling the cops, and he was actually working his way out he was actually lying his way out of a situation before the cops showed up. So I actually kind of like that, and he actually pushes John to just push him away from him, really, but he ends up falling off the staircase, which was like an awesome kill because he nails his like neck against the railing, which I thought like, oh, he's gonna die from that. But nope, it's actually the thing, the award, it's basically this award glass shard that he lands on, which was shown earlier in the film with the first person perspective. You remember that shot?
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, I remember that shot. That was interesting because I wasn't sure exactly why they were doing a first person perspective.
No, this movie does something that it pretty much introduces every single thing that will be of any importance to the movie every single time. And most movies I kind of like, it would enjoy them introducing it, but it literally introduces everything. It shows the award, it shows the toys that he fell off on in an earlier scene, it shows the needles, it actually covers like every single thing that will ever be used for a
the
kill
knife,
in this whole entire movie.
everything. And that was actually
the treehouse.
That was one of the things that I thought was sort of patronizing about the movie. I was just like, really? You're going to show me a flashback of the knife in the dishwasher again? Like, when you put it in the dishwasher the first time, like, we got it. Like, we totally understood what was going to happen later, that the knife was going to come into play. Or the fact that, you know, the car or whatever.
Yep.
And
just every single thing.
I just felt it patronizing, but at the same time, sometimes he followed up with the scene that kind of made up for it, specifically the knife in the dishwasher. Like, there was like a little cut scene that was really quick, and I was just like, okay, that kind of made up for the red herring or the flashback, but I mean, some of the other ones didn't get that treatment.
Yeah, it was kind of like everything else was set up in a traditional payoff sequence, and then the knife in the dishwasher actually pays off in a different way, in a little bit of a subversion that actually is pretty fun. I actually kind of like the setup of the glass shard, because that one I had forgotten about. It's very subtle. It's very subtle during that first person sequence.
Yeah.
And all the other ones they have at least one close up of whatever they're gonna use, like, you know, the drill for the crawl space, the car that John trips over, and that's what I was wondering. I was just like, oh, wouldn't it have been interesting if during the first person shot to see all of the murder weapons, if you will, during like this one first person shot. Otherwise, I mean, it's not like it's a bad shot or anything. I was just wondering, like, oh, this feels like it should be the opening of the movie. Like, we are not seeing the kid until just now, but we've seen the kid for like 25 minutes before this.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering, like, why are we seeing it from his first person point of view right now? I think the answer is just McG thought it would look cool.
It is a really random shot in the show.
Now, we have, it's not like we've kind of like bagged on this movie a little bit, but there are certain points I do enjoy, and a lot of it is the Cole, versus all of our antagonists.
Cole versus the cult.
Cole versus the cult. And I love the, him versus Sonya in the crawl space. That's pretty fun. It does have like the certain level of creepy factor. He, grabs a bunch of tools to, he's got a game plan by the end of it. He blows up part of his house in order to defend himself. Even Max is very much just like, dude, did you just blow up Sonya? Like,
no. I'm not even mad. That was
I'm just
awesome.
surprised.
That was when I actually liked Max as a character the best, was that whole thing, especially when the bully shows up and he's like, dude, are you going to just let him egg your house? And it was at that point I was like, Cole just needs to join the cult and be, and he'd be a better person for it, because they're obviously like trying to encourage him to be a good person, and I really like that whole storyline there. Yeah,
it was interesting that the bully even comes back, that we saw earlier in the film, and I do like that Max is distracted from killing Cole because like, wait, no, this is America. You gotta go fuck him up. Like this.
Why are you letting this dude egg your house? Why are you being such a little pussy?
Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, man, what time is it in the morning here? Like, I never know exactly what time. It's got to be after 10. We don't know exactly what time anything takes place in. But it is interesting to see that the bully, he tries to stand up the bully. I mean, he does stand his ground, but he does get his ass kicked again. And then he tries to let the bully know like what his situation is. And the bully like has a moment where it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna help you out. And nope, that we totally psychs him out on that. And I'm not sure if the bully ever believed him and just like, no, I'm gonna leave you to your fate.
No, I think he just didn't believe him.
Or just didn't believe him. Yeah, I think it was probably an easier sell that he didn't believe him at all.
He didn't really seem like outwardly malicious. He just seemed like a dick.
And I did like that. I mean, the one complaint I have is that Max's demise in this one is not. I mean, I liked the other ones because I like John and Sonya's deaths because Cole was very proactive in them, and it felt like with Max he just got lucky like not only once but twice. Mm-hmm. Like I don't mind him getting out of it with luck with the bully the first time. Like I'm like okay that'll happen. I can let that one slide. But the second time, like where he faces off with him in the treehouse, it felt like it was. If they had shown him like he knew that the treehouse was unstable or something, and like that was part of his plan or something, I would have appreciated it more. Otherwise, it's very much just him, just getting out of that situation very, very luckily, like with the rope and everything.
It was almost like Final Destination-ish to me.
Yeah, with the egg yolks on Max's hands and stuff. Yeah, it like when he slips off, I'm like, okay, he slips off and then he'll fall or something, and Cole can get away. But then he wraps his neck around the noose like mid fall, like around the rope, and I was just like, how the fuck did that even happen? So yeah, but what I really liked is the relationship between him and B throughout this, because even when B has him tied up, she still knows him well enough to be like, okay, once the cops are murdered, I need you to call in an all clear. Like, what are the cop codes? And Cole's just trying to lie, like say, just say all clear, it'll work. And in a small town like this, I would have actually bought that might have worked too, just saying all clear. But he's like, what is the code? I know you know the codes, because she knows that he used to want to be a cop. And and there's other little moments in this movie too where she uses her knowledge of him to her advantage.
Which is kind of a dick move.
Well, it does like actually feel like, especially by the end of this, like, no, I think she actually did like him. Like they were actually like, I think she actually did like hanging out with him. To the point where it makes it even more messed up, her doing this to him. But I think that can be saved for a spoiler second. Is there anything else we wanted to mention that we liked about it before we hit that?
Yes, we did not talk about his gross friend.
Which gross friend? Oh, that's right. He has the role of gross friend who's trying to get him to check out the party and like, you perv,
because they think it's an orgy.
And like, oh man, do you know what happens when after your babysitter puts you to bed, she's totally downstairs doing it. And by all this dialogue, I imagine anyone who's listening who hasn't seen the movie, you're picturing his gross male friend. Yeah. It's actually a girl he kind of has also a crush on from school. That's his friend. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, oh, that was, I mean, I kind of liked that actually, like that, the fact that the girl that he likes is combined with the best friend character that's kind of sexually
egging him on.
That's sexually inappropriate. Like I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot. Who is she played by again?
It's Emily Alyn Lind played Melanie.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've seen her in something before, but it's not. Me
too.
But it's not jumping out at me. Like readily.
I'm looking through her IMDb and I'm still like, why do I know your face? And where have I seen you?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of things that I've actually seen that she's been in. She was in Lights
Actually, you know what she looks like, Nick?
Yeah,
she looks like a blonde version of Tessa.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, we actually have a friend. Maybe that's where we're messing up here, because I swear to God I've seen her in something else. She seems like a popular TV actress.
She's been in a lot of television episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually really liked her, especially near the end where they have the traditional, like I have to run and get my friend involved in this too. They have a pretty cute moment. I kind of like the little moment that they have. I mean, he tries to save her, but like, I'm gonna lock you in the room so that you can't follow me. I'm gonna be self-sacrificing because that's what I do. I'm the man, so that's what I gotta do. And she just goes, "It locks from the inside, dumbass." Ah, damn it. And it's like, yeah, it was a pretty good gesture though.
He tried.
Like she gives him credit on the try, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. And she does stay in the rooms where it's like, yeah, I guess I'll let you go handle it because I don't want to die.
Well, at this point, there's a shotgun involved. I'd be like, no, that's fine. You can deal with it.
Yeah.
And that was a great moment where he's just like, why are there guns?
God, why are there always guns?
Even our main character is done with the situation.
I mean, I was half wondering if he meant like, why are there guns in this movie, or why is America so gun happy? Like, what is with the regulatory system here?
I definitely wouldn't think too much about this movie, honestly. It's not making a political statement.
No, and if there's another criticism I have to make is that I think that this film isn't really trying to say, it doesn't really have a huge theme overall. I think the only thing that really gets me is that I actually really get the relationship between the babysitter and and Cole. B and Cole are like legitimately friends, or at least to Cole, it was a very real relationship. So this betrayal is very real to him. And by the end, where they are like, where anytime they have to have a conflict with that, it actually feels pretty real to me. Like, I feel like his violation, because in a certain sense, he realizes that his relationship was violated because all she needed from him was his innocence, and she basically stole that from him. So
multiple ways. So
if there's any metaphor or theme in this movie, it's basically that someone taking advantage of someone else's innocence, and the violation that feels like it. And to his credit, Cole's actor, he plays that. He plays that very well. So major props to Judah Lewis. He's he really comes across, especially near the end. Patience, was there anything else that you really enjoyed about the film?
Yeah, I agree with you about Judah Lewis's character. For me, it wasn't so much about him losing his innocence as it was him overcoming his fears. And he's going through all of these things that we know he's afraid of, like needles and driving and just standing up for himself. So for me, it was more of a transformation of his character from like this meek kid that gets picked on all the time, and him sort of like eventually taking his own life into his own hands and taking control and being, not being a victim anymore. So that was definitely a character arc I liked. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, like you said, the kills were great. Can't go wrong with the gore. In my world, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're here for, if you're a gorehound, you are not going to walk away
unbloodied.
You're not going to walk away dissatisfied, because there's some gory, gooey stuff in here. It's pretty fun.
There is some great lines too. Like, there is some stuff like right before Sonia dies, and how she's yelling that she's going to turn him into a human self-centipede. There's a lot of really great throwbacks to movies. This is obviously like a film for movie lovers, because I mean, they do so many like little movie lines that are, some of them are subtle, some of them not so subtle, like what's in the box. But
what's in the box?
But there's there's some really great like movie lines in this film that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess we can go into just final thoughts and ratings then, and we'll start with me. I actually did enjoy this film, which is surprising because I don't really like any other McG films. And while I do like it, there are parts in it where I recognize this could have, if you could have really made this film, like, it's good, but you could have made it great if you had just tweaked a couple things here and there. And, the unrealism of it is actually pretty fun, except for some points where it gets a little too goofy. I like the one-on-one aspect of Cole versing each one of these antagonists, mano a mano. That's pretty fun, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense when they're only in this one house. How are so many of them not involved in the same scene after a certain point? I really like the theme of, Cole overcoming his fears. I wish he'd have been a little proactive with Max's death, but all of his other deaths, he was pretty proactive and pretty smart during. I actually wish the bee had interacted with him a little bit more during the film. During it. Well, especially during his fighting back sequences.
She kind of fucks off to clean up the house.
Yeah, because she really drops out of the movie for a significant portion during the second act, and comes kind of back later in the third act. So I kind of wanted them to play off of her really knowing him and like her versus him throughout some of it. So I felt like that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. But otherwise, it does have a pretty rad ending. Like we'll go into in the spoiler section, but the way Cole gets out of this is actually pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Like I won't lie. I did kind of want to throw my fist up in the air and go, yeah! So that was pretty cool. So you know what? I'm going to give this one, let's say, 3.5, what was the name of the firework? The Red Dragons?
Yeah, something like that.
Like Red Dragons out of 5. So 3.5 Red Dragons out of 5. Patience, what do you think?
I want to say that I'm really divided about this movie because I love meta comedy horror. I mean, I'm always a big fan, but I felt like they just were a little bit too thick. It was, too heavy on the tropes. The stereotypes of the characters were almost too much at some times where I was just like, oh, please just, give me some relief. And I did find relief in Cole and Bee's characters because, like you said, it was almost as if it was two different movies. So I kind of went back and forth. Where you get like this really stupid flashback, they follow it up with like a really great scene that kind of makes fun of stupid flashbacks. So I'm divided, but I think overall I did enjoy the film. I did laugh out loud on several occasions, especially with certain gore scenes. The kills were great, and I'm going to give it 6.5 Protestants out of 10.
That was a good scene too. Travis, how about you, my friend?
I actually feel very similar to Patience on this film. I was trying to think out, like, what this film kind of reminded me of throughout, like, all of watching and even just this review. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Patience's mention of how, like, he wants to be so meta just to base it off other movies that I kind of realized what this reminds me of. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a horror, less actual substance version of Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yes!
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that now. With the freeze frame and the giant text and like, okay, yeah.
Like it's someone who really likes Scott Pilgrim and they want to make a horror version of it, just didn't quite follow it all through.
Yeah, this isn't anywhere near as layered or as complex as Scott Pilgrim.
No, but you kind of feel the similar thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is definitely a McG version, but just even the characters, the individual fight scenes, they're all kind of similar.
Yep.
But hey, at least it's still a more likable character than Scott Pilgrim.
I agree. I totally agree.
But this movie, it did, set out to accomplish a goal, and I think it did meet that goal, despite the fact that any sort of misgivings throughout the rest of it. I'm gonna give it a solid 6 out of 10. It was a fun watch, even if it had some problems.
Yeah, I think it's a fair score all around. We are going to take a small musical break then. We're going to be back with the spoiler section right after this.
Und wenn auch von den Babys keines mir gehört, ich lieb das Girl, das täglich sie spazieren fährt, denn beide sind so mollig rund und wohlgenährt und singen.
And welcome to the spoiler section for The Babysitter. Spoiler, the baby was sat upon at a certain point. Cole got a lot of shit. A lot of his shit that got kicked out of him. Mm-hmm. Which is another thing I actually kind of liked about this movie is that they did show him getting hurt a lot.
Oh yeah, he got choked at one point.
It was like the total round kick to the chest while he's tied up. That one got me. That one was rough. Thanks, Max.
That's right, Max.
Max was a dick.
That could have broken some ribs right there. But yeah, so the way this movie wraps up is actually another fun aspect to it. I mean, I liked it. There is one sort of thing that I would have definitely changed about it. But let's start off with that flashback to a flashback, because I did like that scene.
That was so I thought, well, okay, this is good movie making right here. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like where, of course, earlier in the movie we see the knife being put in the dishwasher. They show a close up on the knife to basically go, see, stupid audience, this is going to be important later.
Right, which they do a lot of other scenes. So
they did the same thing with the drill. They did the same thing with
pretty much every scene.
The award.
The only thing that didn't happen was the
treehouse.
What's that?
The treehouse. They didn't really ever show the treehouse.
They didn't show it, but they mentioned it. Yeah.
Right.
And they didn't show they show the award thing that kills John. But they show it in that first. They don't zoom in on it, so it actually gave me a chance to forget about it. Where I'm like, okay, that was a little bit better because it wasn't so obvious. But so we know that the knife is in the dishwasher. We've been waiting for it to come back throughout the entire film. He has a final confrontation that he thinks he's going to have a final confrontation with B in his house. And actually the cheerleader is still alive
somehow. I mean, I guess her boob stopped the bullet.
Yes, cushiony boobs.
Allison is still breathing, even though he checks if she's breathing.
Yes.
And it's
he did a very smart thing, though. He put his hand from her mouth and everything.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, she's definitely dead. And then, of course, when we cut back and we see the camera angle behind him, she's gone. And it's like, I'm like, man, what a movie thing. Mm-hmm. But again, I was kind of having fun at that point. I'm like, yeah, it
didn't bother me.
I don't really care. It gives us an excuse to have another awesome kill, so I'm kind of down with it.
He basically has to kill every, all of these villains in this movie.
Because this movie
leading up to B
is so realistic.
Yeah, I'm not going to nitpick on that one. So, she faces off with him and tries to choke him to death. I did love that he basically punched her repeatedly in the boob. Mm-hmm. He gives those little punches too, like the it was funny to me.
She's so offended by that.
How dare you?
How dare you, little pedophile? You were trying to kill me. It doesn't give you an excuse to be a pervert.
So, yeah, he looks for the knife because he remembers, aha, I remember that the knife is in the dishwasher, so I'm going to grab it, and it's not there, which is what? And then we get a flash sideways to the parents, who I assume are in the hotel room,
mm-hmm.
And it's the wife is, the mom is giving the dad a hand job in the middle of the scene, is like, hey, are you the one that put the knife in the dishwasher? Yeah, I did. Could you not do that? It belongs in the knife block.
In the butcher block,
In the butcher block, yeah. And I was like, oh, damn it. And I was really like, okay, yeah, you had me expect one thing, and you subverted it, and you gave me another thing, and it was funny. I like that.
Although, then the cheerleader pulls out the knife from the butcher block, looking for this? I'm like,
yeah, that was odd.
How did she know that he was looking for that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was looking in the dishwasher. I'm guessing she could have put 2 and 2 together. And
she doesn't seem that bright.
He was looking for a knife, but it did seem like an odd thing to say. But yeah, I actually did enjoy that. It was one of the moments of oh, that was a good payoff.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny. It was look at you being a real movie.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I mean, it was just one of those redeeming qualities. And for every mistake I think that was made, that you're just oh, we're going to do this now, I feel like there was sort of a scene that kind of made up for it a little bit. So that's why I'm just so divided on this movie, I think.
Yeah, there is a lot of back and forth with that, because I do like a lot of aspects. I mean, I think I like Robbie Amell's character.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a caricature, but he's super fun to watch. I mean, I don't like the fact that his demise comes at such a random act, rather than Cole being, because Cole was so smart before. Yeah. I was kind of down with him being smarter. And even Allison's death, I guess, is kind of a Deus Ex Machina, because B comes back and shoots her in the face. But I like that because it furthered the relationship between B and him. Mm-hmm. So I thought that had a purpose as well. And man, her head just comes completely off her body. And I love Bee's reaction too, is just like, holy shit, that was so graphic.
Because, they were only sacrificing a human being, and then she, saw everyone else die, and they impaled a cop with a poker, but no, this was the worst thing.
I mean, her head did explode, just,
It did.
You know what, and this is the point where I did like it, because Bee explains her plan, to him, you were gonna shoot me, no, I was shooting around you to try and make you surrender, because I thought you were a fraidy cat, but you were actually a lot braver than I thought you were gonna be.
Which is believable.
And she legit, just throws the gun down. She's like, man, now I gotta skip town again. And which leaves me what do I gotta do with you? And she throws the gun down, which I'm actually curious, if he did not grab the book, what was her plan? I think she would have just fucked off and might have left him.
Yeah.
Because I think she actually did like him. And there's not really a reason for her to kill him and skip town. She'd only kill him if she was trying to stick around and sell the story.
Well, I really think that at that point she thought she could convince him into teaming up and then just being like, oh no, everything's okay. We did it together. We fought everybody off together. It was our, it was us against them.
Yeah, they were going to stage it as a Home Alone type thing that happened.
And so I'm like, wow, that furthers, they could have gone the whole way of just no, I'm just evil and I'm going to kill you sort of thing. But they really did play up this relationship to the point where Cole has had enough of this shit and he grabs the book and I'm like, I will fucking burn this thing. Now you tell me what I was hunted for this entire night for. And the dialogue here leads me to believe that she has made a previous deal with the devil. This is not her first time doing this sacrifice thing. He even asks her, I wasn't the first kid, was I? And does she confirm that, or does she kind of just go I think
it was all but confirmed.
Yeah. She heavily alludes that he's not the first kid.
Because she does say again that I had to skip town again.
Yeah. So yeah, it very much leads that this is not her first time around doing this. And it makes it sound like she was a lot like him, when she was younger. Weaker, afraid, she wanted to be stronger, popular, just kind of generally all around awesome. And that's why she made the deal with the devil, is to, become, more confident, fearless, more just, better, sort of. And I kind of like that, because it kind of makes more sense with their relationship if she was at some point like him. Yeah. Maybe that's why they got along. And that's why she likes him, and why she picked him to get this innocence from, is not only is it just general innocence, but it reminds her of her innocence. So there's a lot of subtlety going on in this last act that wasn't really present in the rest of the film.
Maybe because you're also looking into it, because again, it's a McG film.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of this, there's a lot of dialogue here that, at least on the written level, it's written in here.
I will give it you that there is something there.
Yeah, there's, I have to skip town again. It's never directly referenced, but there's enough there where I'm like, I think I kind of get this relationship. I'm kind of getting this. I'm getting a lot of this. That and the actors are working it, very well. Both of them, they're they feel like you feel like there's this relationship that's been broken that Bee's trying to fix at the last minute, and Cole's having none of it. No, you're not gonna trick me into this working. So she pitches him we can just, pretend that everybody else attacked us and we had to defend ourselves. They show a little flash version of it, and she gives that wink again with the over the top door ringing sound effect, the little blink thing. And he's like, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna burn your book. And it sets that shit on fire, basically as a distraction, because his final plan is to steal his neighbor's car, which is the dad of the girl he likes,
who is for some reason eternally stuck in high school.
Yeah, if there was any character that was stuck in the 80s, it was him. That was I was like, okay, if he was the one obsessed with the 80s, I totally get it.
It was a really nice car, though. I think it was a Charger, right? A Dodge Charger.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they yes. So he grabs his car and he puts his hand 10 and 2, and he's all ready. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of all with this. Like, this was pretty badass. We Are the Champions starts playing, and this is the one thing that could have been so easily done. Could We Are the Champions been played during his, during him and his dad, trying to drive the car, trying to teach him how to drive, or maybe another Queen song, or maybe when the dad rode up, could a Queen song have been playing? I don't forget what song was playing. I don't think it was.
It was We Are the Champions.
Song. Was it We Are the Champions? Yeah. Oh, okay. So they did set that up. I just missed it. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense to me. Okay, good on you, McGee. Complaint rescinded. It just awesome then. So yeah, he revs up the engine, takes the ramp that is built next to the side of their house for
some reason.
I'm not sure what exact reason that is. I assume it's something to do with the crawl space.
Actually, in the beginning, when he was messing around with the butcher knife and his little RC car, he talked about aerodynamics and how he was going to launch that off the ramp, and it was going to go exactly as he expected. So I think that's what the ramp was for.
Oh, I assumed the ramp would have been smaller, but I guess, he could have built a ramp just for that.
It was really quite large for an RC car, but what else?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, that's a pretty large ramp, but yeah, no, they did mention that. I did like that he was trying to fix that RC car with a butcher knife too. Like, you obviously have screwdrivers, like you look at all the stuff you've made in your room, you have tools. But yeah, so he flips the fucking car into the house on top of the cheerleader. On top of B, sorry. Cheerleader's headless in the kitchen.
I mean, it probably also landed on the cheerleader. You're not wrong.
I mean, yeah, it was probably landed on some of her too.
Here and there.
So it lands on B in the perfect way where it doesn't mess up any part of her face. So that they can
because it's going just as he imagined.
So that they can he planned it all out. Yeah. Planned it all out. So he has a final goodbye with her that's actually pretty touching, where it's like she said I never asked you about your dream team, because earlier in the movie they had this game of building a dream team of famous action, movie, TV, sci-fi people to go on a mission or whatever, and your job was to pick 5 people. And B gave her answer, and he never gave his. And she's like, "I never asked you about your A team." And he's like, "I'm usually pretty good about that sort of thing. I'm usually pretty good about tricking people and stuff, but I guess she thinks she basically messed up, and she kind of feels bad about it." So he tells her dream team, which is Admiral Adama, Data, Predator, and then him and B.
Yep.
And it was kind of like this touching moment of the biggest badass team I could think of has you and me on it. And it's kind of it's very this small thing of just showing you were one of the coolest people in my life, and you violated that, you betrayed me. I know it was you, Fredo. To steal another line they stole from this movie. And you see B going I think she actually does recognize what she did to this kid, and the fact that she sees a lot of herself in Cole as well. So she tries to give this final goodbye of their regular thing, which is what is it, ET fingers?
Yeah.
Where they they touch fingers or whatever. And he just goes yeah, fuck that.
Well, I definitely think she does realize what she did, because she even says no, you misunderstood. I am the big bad.
Yeah, that's right. She does say that. She has she does fully realize no, I am the villain of this piece. So, and yeah, and he just walks off like a badass.
Well, he goes to get the girl.
He goes to get the girl, and he has the shot of where he stands on top of the back end of the car with his destroyed house, which is such a hero shot. I wanted the Superman theme to be playing, just da-da, da-da. It was a pretty cool shot, and I'm not gonna lie, the whole ending of the film really did work for me. This whole kind of fuck yeah, I did it. I won, and the bullies respect me because they know I murdered people.
I actually was not super happy with like that very last shot with the bullies. I was just like, oh, you were doing so good.
Was it a little too over the top?
It was just a little too much. Just, I mean, you know, he got the girl and the parents are hilarious but like just that little part with the bullies like holding up their hands, you know, and the cheering noises, I was just like, we didn't need that. That was just, you were doing so, you know, he had a forward momentum at that point, but whatever. I mean, can't leave well enough alone, McG.
And thus Cole completed the time-honored tradition of making sure you no longer need your babysitter by killing her.
I did like that where the dad does come home, or it's like, yeah, I don't need a babysitter anymore.
Yeah, that's like one of the final lines of the movie.
And then at one point he asks his little girlfriend, he's like, "Am I the only one with a babysitter?" And she's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, he is like, what is he in the movie? Like 14?
12. He's 12.
He's 12? Okay, well, he's obviously like 16 playing 12 or something.
Everyone was like 30 years old in this film. The actors are like 30.
But he does seem like a smart kid. I mean, I don't know if I would have, like, if he really needed a babysitter, but obviously his parents are...
Well, he also tries to fix RC cars with a butcher knife.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb. Like, hey, don't do that, stupid. But yeah, I do. I mean, the final part with the car is pretty fun. He gets a kiss from his lady friend, which is pretty cool. He's like, yeah, all right, everything worked out for me. Oh, or did it? Because we get a end credits like stinger with the babysitter
or something, yeah.
where she somehow her lower half was not liquefied by the car apparently. And she stabs one of the firemen in order to, like, I guess, leave it open. We're like, she might have gotten away. Where I'm like, I don't think this movie needs a sequel. No. I mean, I had fun and everything, but I'm pretty sure you said everything you wanted to say.
It could just be a fun stinger, too, if nothing else.
I mean, again, it's just, this whole entire movie is really heavy on the tropes, and so that's just one more trope, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're getting a Babysitter Part 2. Please.
No. let's hope we don't.
Please not.
Well, I don't have an end credit stinger where one of us jumps up from near death, but I think we can end it here without that. I think we can end this review without that. We'll avoid that trope in this review, I think. So thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you again for joining us, Patience. This was super fun again.
Always. I seem to pick some really not good movies, guys.
This was an entertaining one.
That's true.
Hey, this one was fun. I'm not gonna lie. I had a fun time watching this one.
It's no Spawn, that's for sure.
I'll remember just picking the worst one at least.
If there's anything about this movie that irks me is that it could have been better.
Yeah.
Like there's certain moments where I'm like, man, if you would have just done a little something, if you would have zigged instead of zagged here, you could have had something real special.
Could have been a full-on Scott Pilgrim parody.
And sadly, there are a lot better films out there. Tragedy Girls is amazing. I mean, well, it's not quite out yet, but that's the film that you want. That's what we're looking for here.
Well, I'm excited to see that, but if you're looking for a meta movie you can watch like right now, I would heavily recommend, Final Girls. Like that's pretty good.
Final Girls is amazing.
That'll scratch the itch that I feel like this movie was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. If you haven't seen it yet,
my jam.
I can't imagine it's been out for quite a while, but.
There was another movie that I don't think a lot of people have heard of that I kind of liked. It's called Cabin in the Woods.
No one's heard of that one.
He's talking about oldies now. Back in 2012 when I was just a youngin'.
Only barely able to drink.
All right. But yeah, thank you so much. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you?
You can find me at Deliberations of Doom, which is my horror film podcast, along with some great horror film makers, and Chris Cox, who is the jam. He's the bomb.com. That's oldie. Deliberations of Doom on oneofus.net. We just did a 2-part episode on 90s horror films, which was very fun. So check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now live on Instagram.
Ooh.
Man, 90s horror films, that sounds super fun. Like, there's like Scream and...
Oh, no. We do like...
What else
we
came
don't
out in
do
the
like
90s?
the big ones. We did like Ravenous, Stir of Echoes, Cemetery Man. So we do some good stuff. We don't do that mainstream bullshit.
Oh, okay. I was say there's actually I can't even imagine like it because so much of 90s horror was very obscure to me. Like all I remember from 90s is Scream and Scream clones.
Exactly. I think there was like H2O. Did that come out in the 90s? No, that was the aughts.
I think I don't remember.
I don't know.
Whatever it was,
I watched
it was
too many movies, guys. Sorry.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, if you want to check out some of our previous Netflix and kills, you can always check out our back catalog on our iTunes feed at UGO Podcast. Or if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can do that. Or on Twitter at UGO Podcast. Give us a tweet at us.
Tweet.
Maybe suggest for us a guest we can have on for Netflix and kill, or a movie we can watch. Because I'm always up for some more gooey goodness, especially during October. I need my fix. I need my fix. Goddammit!
All the crappy horror movies.
But with that, I think we can bring this one to an end. The baby has been sat upon, and we are ready to wrap up. So without further ado, we are unapologetic.end. We're out. All right,
Thank you. So, what is your intergalactic dream teams?
Okay, let's see. What's my intergalactic dream team?
Well, I can say, Nick, mine would have you on it.
Yeah?
I need a red shirt.
I need a red shirt. I need this red shirt on here. Okay, I got this. Okay, Mal from Firefly.
Fuck yes.
Okay. He's the wild card, but he's also the leader.
Yep.
Because he knows he knows when shit needs to go down. He can be serious. Actually, I kind of want to pick all of the Firefly crew.
Can we just pick Firefly?
Yeah, I would just actually want to pick all the Firefly crew, but no. So Mal from Firefly, Garrus from Mass Effect, Garrus Vicarian, because he's got your back. You know that.
Is he your muscle?
Yeah, well, he's our sniper. He's he's basically our tactician.
Gotcha.
Also, we need we need a brain. We need smarts. What I need? How about? I'll tell you what. We need Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey to run.
Oh my god, I was thinking the same thing. You need someone that's like technology minded. You know, you need a tech guy.
And he doesn't have any of that humanity to bog him down. He'll be able to, ethically, whatever, no ethics to get in his way at all.
I was thinking either Hal or David from, Alien, the Prometheus / Covenant aliens.
Oh, okay. I'd rather just forget about Prometheus, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Oh, that's why we're friends.
The movie was bullshit.
I'd rather just not remember, no offense, Michael Fassbender.
A little offense.
A little bit, just a tiny.
He's used also in Assassin's Creed, so a little
Which
offense.
Obviously was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's say, just Keith David. Just Keith David from anything. Just because I feel like he would keep it cool. He's got the one-liners. Is that 4 for me?
Yeah, I think you're allowed 5 though, or 6 if they're a duo.
6 if they're a duo. Okay. Well, 5 has got to be, let's say, dang it!
Are we talking about Pitch Black Keith David? Because that's my favorite Keith David.
Oh, that's a good Keith David.
That is my God, Mr. Riddick.
This is my God, Mr. Riddick. And you know what? Riddick. Why don't we throw Riddick on there?
Oh shit! Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a perfect pick right there. All right, Travis, you got one?
Oh boy, let's see here.
Should we get patience? You have to have some right on your pick list. So we go.
Well, I have to obviously go with Captain Mal now because that's just a thing. I mean, I was thinking maybe Captain Picard, but Mal is so much better and wittier, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
you won't have as much fun with Picard.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the job done.
Exactly. Picard is more straight-laced. Mal can, you know, he aims to misbehave. Then I feel like I'm going like Leverage here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Leverage. But Leverage was a television show where like they have like this certain tropes. So you kind of have to have like your thief.
Oh yeah. You know what? I have watched Leverage. Yes.
So I was thinking Sly Cooper. I know that's a little strange.
Yeah, Sly. What? Yes, Sly Cooper's pretty good.
Sly Cooper has some great lines. He has some great comebacks, and he can pretty much steal and infiltrate anything, you know? So that was a little strange. But for my tech person, I had Neo. Because he can also fight, but you can just download any program that you need, you know? So.
And he's a hacker.
Yeah, exactly. like a double keyboard hacker, right?
That's a good multi-class right there.
And then for my muscle, I would definitely do Punisher. Frank Castle's my boy.
That'd be a good
Love him to death. So plus
the John Bernthal version,
absolutely,
or is it...
not the Dolph Lundgren or Thomas Jane versions. No, definitely the John Bernthal version. He's just a badass, and you get a little bit of Shane remnants in there. So yeah, Punisher, because he's.
Let me ask you something, Red.
Plus, he has really good tactical maneuver. Like he's really good with guns and stuff. So and sniper. And then for my comedy relief, I'm sorry guys, I gotta go with Deadpool.
Deadpool, the merc with a mouth.
Nice.
Love it.
Gotta go with him. I mean, you gotta have that humor, right? And badassedness, if that's a word.
That's a good team. It's a good team right there. How about
Travis?
How about you, Travis?
Oh, let's see here. I think for a leader, let's go with Captain Kirk.
Okay.
Okay, Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk is leader, because that'd be fun and entertaining. I think for actual like technical support though, we're going with Edie for that one.
Edie from Mass Effect?
Nice.
Definitely Edie. Let's see, Muscle, Wolverine.
Oh,
that's a good pick.
I mean, if you're gonna pick a muscle, why not pick an immortal one?
That's a good point.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Let's see, number 4, what else am I missing here?
Well, you need like a infiltrator,
Yeah, you need a rogue to balance out your team, a stealth guy, yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a more difficult one.
Hey,
I see one right there, actually. I'm choosing Hit Girl.
You know Hit Girl?
Hit Girl's a good infiltrator, I think. She can make it through.
That's an interesting choice. At least you chose you're the only person that chose a woman.
True.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
we're all misogynists right now, except for Travis.
You picked 2 women, damn it.
I'm good at this. Let's see here. I think for the last one, I am going to pick 2. I'm going to pick a duo.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pick something a little bit more utility. I'm going to pick C-3PO and R2-D2.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Because they can just pretty much fill in whatever role I need them to.
Yeah, but then you have to list a C-3PO.
I'm going to have Edie remove his vocals.
It's a give and take.
Edie's going to remove his vocals or threaten him.
I love it. Can I change Sly Cooper to Lara Croft?
Ooh, there you go. You got to pick the woman.
Then I'm not a misogynist anymore.
I'm still a better feminist than you. I picked 2 women.
As long as I can change Hal to Kasumi from Mass Effect.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. What a great time. So clearly all 3 of us are going to rule the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think our teams are very well suited for that. Like, I don't imagine a lot of like goodwill missions with our teams.
Nah.
Like we're out to kill people with our teams.
I mean, we all just wanted to pick Firefly, so yeah.
I did want to pick Zoe really bad once I picked Mal. I was like, fuck, I should have picked Zoe.
Zoe has a better head on her shoulders, but I don't know about how she feels now that rest in peace, Wash.
Right.
R.I.P.
I feel like she's a little on edge.
And
I don't think she can improv as good.
I heard somewhere that I think it was in the comics that she was pregnant or something like that too.
Yeah, I've read some of the comics. She did get pregnant with Wash's kid right before he died.
Fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep you guys, but that was hilarious.
No, it was a great
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
We should definitely maybe should add that one in.
Yeah, I think I still have it recorded here, so
nice.
we can add that in somewhere, or just like as an maybe a little bit of bonus.
Yeah, bonus feature.